Math Man! Welcome back, students, to another edition of Math Man's Algebra Academy. This one is Chapter 3, Lesson 1, Identifying Functions. So first we have to talk about what a function actually is. Well, a function is a relation in math in which each input gives exactly one output. Now they may not even have those same names because an input can also be called a domain or x, or again, just an input. The outputs can be called range or y, or just output. But again, what is a function? I want you to picture a vending machine. If I had a vending machine and I wanted some Doritos, I would hit the button for the Doritos and they should pop out of the machine. That's how it's supposed to work. But if I hit the same selection twice, you should get the same item twice. If you get two different items for hitting the same button, we would say the machine is broken and not functioning correctly. Let's look at the Doritos in the upper right hand corner. Those are the Cool Ranch Doritos, but a lot of you call them blue Doritos. So if I hit the button 5, since that's the 5th slot, I should get the Doritos popping out of the vending machine and ready for me to eat. And if I hit 5 again, I should see another Doritos popping out. But what if instead I got Cheetos? Not only would that not work for me, because I don't like Cheetos, it also would show that the machine is broken because it opened up the wrong slot on the vending machine. Identify a function in a domain map. So this is a domain map on the right hand side of the screen. That's what it kind of looks like. Now you'll see these in math occasionally here and there. What it does, it shows domains going to different ranges. Again, x and y, input, output. So what you have to do is remember that each input, or x or domain, produces exactly one output, y or range. Again, I want you to think about that vending machine. You're hitting the button and you should get one result. If an input produces more than one output, it is not a function. So let's start with looking at the domain u. Now the domain u gives us two different ranges, -3 and 2. So because of that fact alone, this is not a function. So let's continue. S gives us one output, which is 3. So that part is functioning. But then you go down to the m again, and it gives us a -2 and a -1. Since there are domains that give us more than one range, that is not a function. Now we're going to identify a function in a table. So this table has domains and ranges. Remember that each input, x, domain, produces exactly one output, could be listed as y or range. It's okay for multiple inputs to give the same output if each input only still gives exactly one output. Now it sounds weird until we look at it. So let's look at these. M gives us star, V gives us star, R gives us star, and D gives us star. If we go back to the vending machine example, could I have 4 slots in the vending machine that all give blue Doritos? Absolutely. So because of that, this is a function, because each input gives exactly one output. Now we're going to identify a function with ordered pairs. If you remember about ordered pairs, they're in the format of x, comma, y. So because they have x, that's also like our input, and since they have y, that could be our output. So let's look at the x's. We have 2, 6, -9, and -3. And we have our y's, b, k, z, and d. Since each input gives us exactly one output, this is a function. Now we're going to look at a function on a graph. Now this is a little bit different because we don't see the numbers right off the bat, and sometimes they may not be clear to see at all. But there's a really easy way to check this out. It's called the vertical line test. So for an example on this graph, let's go to x value of -8, that's your horizontal axis. And then we're going to see from -8 where it is on the y-axis. There are 2 dots at -8 on the x-axis. And so as a result of that, that means there's 2 y's for the same x value. Now the way to check this without doing the dots and doing all of that is very, very simple. It's just a vertical line test. So I can draw a vertical line and then move it along the axis. And anywhere I move it, if there is a spot where they touch twice, that is not a function. So as a result for this graph, it is not a function. Now let's go through some examples. Here we have a table of domains and ranges. So Remember to identify the output for each input and ask, is each input giving you exactly one output? Let's take a look. F gives us one output of A, J gives us one output of F, C gives us an output of F, and U gives us an output of R. Now, initially when you're starting to look at these things, you might be concerned about this. Oh, J and C both gave us F as an output. Except, that's like having, again, 2 slots in the vending machine to give us the blue Doritos, right? So since that's the case, this is actually okay, and it is a function, because each input gives us exactly one output. Now, we have another one here. This is domain mapping, okay? Each input has to give us exactly one output. So if you look through this, every input is giving us exactly one output. There's no domain that's giving us 2 different ranges, even though V and Z both give us V as a range. That's okay, because again, that's like having 2 slots in the vending machine for the blue Doritos, right? So since that's the case, this is a function. Alright students, now let's look at example 3. Remember, we're going to identify the output for each input, and each input should only give you exactly one output. Now since this is a graph, we would normally start by doing our vertical line test. But what I want you to see first is these dots right here. If you remember properly, the filled in dot means less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, and the open circle means less than or greater than, but not equal to. So this is actually okay. So we draw a vertical line, and then we move it along the graph. Other than that one point which we just said was okay, there's no place where it touches the line twice. So that means this, since it's not equal, it's okay, and it is a function. Alright students, this is our last example. We have ordered pairs here. Remember that each input has to give you exactly one output. So first let's look at the inputs, and you'll notice we have K 3 times here. We have one F, and then K, K, and K. This is already not off to a good start. Now we look at the Y values, or the outputs, and we see that those K's each have a different output. We have -2, 5, and -1, which tells us that because we have K giving us -2 and 5 and -1, this cannot be a function. Alright students, now you've learned how to identify functions. Hope this has been helpful to you. If it has, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time. Until then, keep the math mathing.
It's